Here we go again. It's already been 1 week, and there are so many different mind and mental associations happening. Under the clear light of the consciousness, everything is happening. If we really put the perspective in a deep investigation, we're going to find out that there are only two things: the consciousness and the mental associations, both congealed together. And that's it. We have 11 people here. Each will have the same set, the consciousness and mental associations. But each of us experiences different things. And that experience calls who we are. And who we are is actually another mental associations working out, that's all. Because of deep down inside, there's no me, no you. The label of me, you, mine, I are the creation of thoughts. Funny thing about thoughts is that thought runs our lives. Thought makes us do this, that, here, there. Pay real attention to it. Even when we walk, once in a while, we sat and remember that the mind has its own strength until that it ran out of energies. It subsides down a little bit, and then the mind becomes quiet, and we feel that, oh, this is good. I get less thinking. But actually it just the way how the mind works. Mental proliferation plays a great role in our lives, especially that when we're not busy with external objects. When we don't have anything to do, then right there, thought comes like a tsunami. Last time that we discussed a little bit about dealing with the mind, about mindfulness. There are two ways to be mindful of. One way is that we go back to our primary objects, which is the breath, which is the sensation or the rise and fall of your abdomen. You get away from the objects, which is kind of inflicted you. That's one way of meditation. It's really good during the daily activities. When you do something, then it's good. But when we really sit down, just like 30 minutes ago, don't run away with that. Because this is the chance to look into the nature of the mind, to see, oh, what's going on with this, blah, 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 blah. And right there with the investigation, we have a chance to understand how the mind works. And if we keep running away, then how can we understand? It's nature, it's natural, it's part of the mind. And one of the 7 requisites for realization is that the requisites of investigation. We sit down, we close our eyes, shut down the 5 senses, and then we really begin to investigate. Why such and such and such and such arise? And right there, we understand. That understanding calls wisdom. And this wisdom has nothing to do with the accumulated knowledge at all. Accumulated knowledge is just a bunch of data, input, whole bunch of informations that you try to remember. But this wisdom has nothing to do with it. It just comes, oh, this is the way it is. Even the Buddha cannot endow such wisdom to you. Only you that can experience it. Investigate and find out. And right there is no doubt about what the mind is. It's very hard to speak the same subject every week. But the truth is, this is exactly what it is. When you smell, when you taste, when you hear, this is an external object. This is a sense base. When the external object comes into the sense base, it goes back into the consciousness, and then the consciousness is working its way out for one to understand that, oh, this is the taste of the strawberry. This is the sound of the car. This is the image of my loved ones, such and such. Isn't all of those informations is the working of the mind? If all of those information is what is the working of the mind, then where is my, me, I? A clever trick, very clever trick of the mind is that immediately after every information input, and then the mind automatically decodes for what we call, oh, I understand. Then right after that understand, deep down inside, a sense of I say, oh, I know this, I know that. It doesn't say that in words, superficially, but it says that in a silent way, so silent that we cannot recognize it until we really, really pay attention to it. I say that is the mental flickering. It doesn't agitate it as strong like a wave on the oceans, but very, very subtle, very subtle. And we can detect that with the power of mindfulness. Language is a conventional means to share, to endow the communications. So there has to use an I, you, my, me, such and such, such and such. But language lacks of the clear communication which say that this is not I that experiences, this is not you that experiences. Because of language is the only means to communicate. And language is an object too. Remember that. Yesterday, a great master came visit the temple. He's going to stay here for a couple more days. He asked me, how is your practice? And I presented to him, I'm going to offer this to you, Master. He looked at me and smiled. He changed his way of teaching a little bit. If years ago I did this, I'm going to get a good smack. So I cover myself with that too. I said, even if that you're going to smack me, you're not going to hit me. It's a hint of Zen present. I myself, I speak in a middle way. I incorporate the consciousness and the mind. But the great masters, he doesn't concern about the mind. He goes straight to the consciousness. Just only one word, consciousness. He wrote so many books about the consciousness. And the nature of consciousness is what? To know. That's it. There's nothing else. So consciousness is knowing. Only that one word, only that one functions. But he wrote many books about it. And you know that when you study, you find definition about an object. It's very easy because you can see, you can feel, you can visualize, you can really look deep inside of the nature of an object. But this is a non-object. You have nothing to talk about. But here, he wrote books and books and books about consciousness and its functions to know. So Buddha has emphasized about the consciousness. I don't know if you know the name Vivekananda. He talked a great deal about consciousness. And here the great master talks about consciousness. So it's got to be something real. It's not in reality that you can feel, that you can touch it and such and such. It's not that way. But it's right there. And once you have the key to open that door into the nature of the consciousness, then right there the chance of happiness, the chance of compassion, love come. He even assured me that because of I brought the subject up, consciousness and compassion and love, they go together. And he even assured that yes, if you lucky somehow that you realize the consciousness, but without compassion, without love, then there's something missing. Then it's not real consciousness, yes. Because the consciousness itself is love, too. And is consciousness a part of us, or is it far away that we have to reach, we have to find it? No, exactly that what you are right now is consciousness. Because of the sensation that you feel involves consciousness. The sight, the sound, the smells, taste, touch, everything involves with consciousness. Maybe we can substitute the consciousness with I, the letter I. When I ask you, do you know this? Yes, I know this. That I means consciousness. Very simple, very easy. And right there that we can unwind every complications which runs our lives. Consciousness is available 24 hours a day. It doesn't belong to anyone. It's just there. Please help yourself to it. Once that you have a taste of it, then a chance, the door of emancipation will come about, and we feel that we deserve to live, we deserve to love, to compassionate, and I would say that you become more happier and happier. It begins with being mindful to whichever you are. And don't forget that to investigate that moment of mindfulness and its object, to go into it, to unfold the mystery of the mind, which actually there's no mystery at all. Once that you turn the light inside instead of you shine your lights out. If you shine your lights out, then you can never get it. turn it back in. And very soon, with a proper investigation, we're gonna see the happiness. The happiness that goes beyond death, because the fear of death is no longer predominant our lives and such. So, anything would you like to share about, please? Yes, please.
Yeah, your class tonight kind of resonated with something that was revealed to me. That I grew up with a single mom, and I had to entertain myself a lot. And how that shows up in my adult life is I have a very creative mind, and the creative mind likes to create stories. And I heard something that really helped me detach from the creative mind, because for a long time I thought I was the creative mind.
Okay.
The thoughts were me. And so whatever I heard, I was able to kind of step back and realize that there's two thought paths, right? It was the present and then the creative mind. And so this last week I've been in the present, and I have to say, being able to see the creative mind, I've been able to detach and be more peaceful.
Great. Again, that when we go back to the present, which is the primary objects, whatever the object is, just pay a little more attention to it. Attention to why you go back to the present. There's a factor of fear that's why that you have to go back to the present, because of every which way the mind is the present itself. Now remember, every which way the mind is the present. You don't have to go back to your primary object. I don't know if I can convey the message that, for instance, that at this moment the afflicted emotion is there, and then this moment you go back to your breath. The moment of afflicted emotion is the present, right there too. So you don't have to skip that to go to the breath. See that? So I don't say that going back to the present is the primary object is wrong. I don't say that, but we look into the nature of the mind a little bit more, then we say, oh, this is it. I don't have to escape the afflicted emotion. I don't have to. But once that I realize and recognize that this is an afflicted emotion, then we can go to the primary object without missing the chance of investigation. And that is very, very wise, to put it in a mindful perspective. It's very, very interesting. Yes.
I just have a joke. Doing meditation and then mindfully walking, and I caught myself preparing a food recipe, and halfway I caught myself. So where did this come from?
Oh.
And I tried to investigate, but I haven't found what caused it.
Well, if you don't have that data in your file, then it never comes out. But since that data is in your file already, then it just by the chance it's gonna come out. Either that our mindfulness is not so strong to encapsulate the object, then the chance of different objects from the subconsciousness will arise. Just like that some meditation teachers can teach, we can be mindful two objects at once. Two. Actually, there's only one object at a time, one at a time, but just because the mind is so quick, too quick, and that's why that he said two objects, but actually, you pay attention to this, and then a recipe comes, you pay attention to this. You don't wonder why it comes on. But the productive way is that you caught, red-handed that the recipe arrives.
It was halfway done.
Oh no! This is very important. This is very important that on the screen, this object is on, and then the next object comes to the same screen. There is no different screen. The important thing is that we realize this is another object. That's important. It's not important that you have to go back to this object. Whatever appears on the screen, we realize that. That is the way to meditate, without attachment, without pushing away what's bad, what's good, what you wanted to. That is another step that you don't have to lock. You don't have to lock on only one object. One is okay, but whatever arises next is okay too. And then that whatever arises next may become weakened, and then the primary object comes back again. So the same screen, different objects. So you pay importance on the screen, not the object. That's in the art of meditation. Yes, Daniel.
Karen, could you explain more what you mean by the creative mind? You're talking about somebody who's autistic or makes new discoveries or inventions, and what's your take on the creative mind? Is that basically a good thing, or maybe has some drawbacks?
I love that part of myself, right? I think it is what you're talking about, that person that creates art, that makes discoveries and sees the beauty in life and, experiences life to the fullest, right? I think that's a good thing. But sometimes it gets swept away in I like writing stories, and so, I'm in the moment and I get swept away by these stories, and it robs me of my peace sometimes. It's not a bad thing, but I feel like being able to distinguish the creative mind and then myself, it gives me a way out of the current of creativity.
May I go into the word creation, creative? Actually, there's no creative at all. It's not. Every element is there already. Remember that every element is there already. It just appears in a different combinations, and we call creative. Yeah, Because without that element, how can you think about it? If you don't have that data embedded, in your subconscious, then you cannot think about it. Can you think of what you don't know? Very easy. We cannot. When I say, can you think of what you don't know, then your mind becomes blank because it has no data embedded, deep down in your consciousness. So the word creative might give us a false, understanding. It's just that the old data deep down in here arises with different combinations, and then it gives a new form. How many combinations of four letter A, B, C, D? So many combinations. It's only four element A, B, C, Ds, but when we put it in different sets, then there are so many. So the mind contains everything already. Do a little investigation and we can see that too. Yeah. Yes.
Well, I might give an example. We both play music,
Yes.
but I play rather mechanically, really. You've heard me play. And you play very expressively, and I think really more creatively than I do.
It's just the way that the mind is. Mechanically is part of the mind. Creatively is part of mind. Expressively is part of the mind. So it's just the mind.
When I hear you guys explain it, I see the difference is like attachment and judgment. If you're attached to something, then you judge it, and if it makes you feel good, or when it doesn't, then, and also when people praise you, then maybe that could be a good thing. So it's just attachment and judgment, I think.
It's a mental proliferation. It's just a mental proliferation. That's why one thing comes after, and the next one thing comes after next. So it's attachment to give judgment. Yes, exactly. Yes. So it look into it. Yes.
I feel like equanimity, non-attachment, detachment, transcendence, and going beyond all mean the same thing.
Yes. Yes. In Abhidharma perspective, the equanimity might mean something else, but they're very much the same. That once you detach, the mind becomes equanimous. Once that the mind transcends that detachment, the mind becomes equanimous. So very closely related. Yeah.
And I feel like it's easier to realize equanimity when nothing is happening, when there are no afflictive emotions and there are no afflictive experiences happening. But once afflictive emotions arise and once afflictive experiences are happening, the equanimity is gone, there's attachment. And then, to my surprise, I also noticed that positive experiences and positive emotions are just as distracting as the painful ones. Is that true?
In one way is that I'm going to give an example. This is one. This is two. The one right here, the two right here, in between there is a space. When the mind and its association has nothing to rise above. So there is an empty space. And that empty space, we might mistaken ourselves as equanimity. Another definition for equanimity is that whatever arises, it doesn't affect us, then that's equanimity. Yes.
I feel like that's easier to realize when what arises is not as intense. When it's very intense, then the equanimity is gone. Like, for example, if somebody took the last cookie, that doesn't bother me as much. That's equanimity, I can even laugh about it. But if it's something really, like if somebody stole, let's say, my e-bike,
Yes.
well, I lose my equanimity.
Of course, the level of attachment depends on the valuable objects which belongs to one. Yeah.
In terms of judgment, I heard something yesterday that I really resonated with. It was that pleasure is not fulfillment and pain is not suffering. And that the judgment of the mind is what, creates, because it just is. So like the equanimity, I think, is the same
Yes,
thing.
yes.
It's just neutrality of
Yes,
whatever is
neutrality,
happening. There's no,
because of the wisdom that understand that pleasure will never be a fulfillment, and suffering will never be
pain.
because of as we discussed it earlier today, that we learn so much about pain. Wisdom grows from pain. Very rarely that wisdom grows from pleasure. The thing is that because we enjoy the pleasure so much, the enjoyment of pleasure, that we don't learn anything about it. But the pain that gives us a significant impact, and that's why that we pay attention, and from there, because of that wisdom grows from pains more than pleasures.
I think I agree with that statement, because Nisargadatta Maharaj said that
great.
we learn more from pain than we do from pleasure. And my tsunami came. You talked about tsunami. I had one 2 days ago.
Oh,
I really lost it. Are we being recorded? Okay. Well, I know that. It came, and I thought about it, and I realized, why did I get triggered so much? And I realized, I lost my equanimity. I need more equanimity. And practicing have more of it, so that I don't get triggered.
no, don't expect to get non-triggering. Don't expect that. It's gonna happen because of the part of the mind. It's gonna happen. The other thing is that we understand how mind works. From that understanding, give us equanimity. It's not that we prevent it, it's not that we suppress it, it's not that we're gonna stop it. Then it gives us equanimity. No, it's not. It's not, because of its part of mind. It's just like this body, it needs food. That's so very natural. Same thing with the mind. The mind, the way it is, the mind with all of its association, with all of its mental factors, we cannot prevent it. If there is a condition which match what it is, then mind's gonna arise. So don't expect that it's not gonna be. But the thing is that every time that the unwholesome comes, we have a chance to practice. Don't be afraid. Don't run away with that. See it as close as you can, And then we're gonna experience the nature of the mind. We're gonna really actually experience the nature of mind. Oh, this is such. This is how it is. And right there, we are not afraid of it anymore. During the day, during my day, a lot of things that I'm mindful of, but a lot of things that interfere with my mindfulness. And I'm wondering why that kind of, what kind of evil thought that came to my mind. Why? But it's just part of it. And once that we understand, then we become equanimous, whatever arises. And that is very important, to understand the mind.
But if you transcend the mind, go beyond the mind, step back, step away from the mind.
Transcend the transcendental, there's only way if we can transcend the mental subjectivity. If we transcend that, then we become strong concentration, which we call samadhi. That's all. Where the mind becomes less agitated, and then for a long time, let's say for 10 minutes, for example, it just flicks. Time with flicks, and then 10 minutes, time with flicks. That's what we call transcendent. The space between and the flickering. It's not a tsunami, but it's extremely subtle, and we call it transcend. But because of there's no such thing to me. There's no such thing as transcendental. Because of in one hand is the known, another hand is the object, which is the mind. There's nothing else. Then where is the transcendental fit into the consciousness and the mind?
Joseph, what did you say again? I couldn't understand your last comment because your voice was going forward.
I was going to say, I feel less reactive to things when I'm not identified with my mind.
That's true. That's completely true. If we become less identified with mental subject, then we don't concern. When we become less concerned about how the mind works, then the mind, we don't have a lot of mental horizon. So that
matter if things do arise or not, you're less reactive to them.
yes, if we can do that's wonderful. Become less of that. But the word transcendent, we might misunderstand that we have to go beyond the mind. The object, the nature of object is that appear and disappear and appear and disappear. That's it.
I prefer the word non-identification, but I don't seem to understand what that means.
Yes.
I have two things to discuss. One is related to what we discussed about tsunami,
Yes.
and the other one is something that I'm confused. I just need your help. So the first thing, the tsunami effect, I also had something like that. It's because I remember going to a church and they said, your life is a gift, you need to take care of yourself. And I've been very compassionate, taking care of somebody, ignoring myself, and I said, I need to take care of myself now. And then the tsunami came and I was kind of, have to do this and that, become reactive. So what is it here? Is it the mind?
Sometimes we get attached to the compassion too much. and we don't know that, and if something go against our compassion, then the mind become reacted. We give values to compassion too much. Let's say that, and then somebody go, why did you do that? It's not worth it for doing it, and such and such and such. And then we become angry. We become agitated, mental agitations and such right away. So even with good quality, good mental quality like love and compassion, we don't get attached to it too. We do, but not attached to it.
So taking care of ourselves, like I'm not taking care of myself, I'm upset now. So what is that? Like why became
It's-
not taking care of myself?
No, when we get upset of ourselves, right? We get upset of ourselves. It's a mental affliction. That's all. Yeah, getting upset, the upsetting mind, and we say that then we get out of that, and then we look into the nature of upsetting mind. That's it. Yeah. So like I said, that there's no mind, me, I, myself at all. It's just the nature of what mind is, the nature of what consciousness is, which both congeal together, that create the experience of upsetting. That's it.
This may sound like I'm treading into the realm of heresy from a Buddhist perspective, but I've explored other modalities in the past, and I ran across one where the teaching is that you're here to manifest all your desires, and if you learn to manifest all your desires, you will live a happy, fulfilled life. It's all about manifesting your desires and achieving them. But then on the other hand, Buddhism, the second noble truth is desire leads to suffering.
Yes, of course. And it's not that like I said that during the meditation we don't run away from desires. And if you're fortunate, then you get less desires. But if you're unfortunate, then desire comes as tsunamis, and we get to experience that. But whether the less or the more, they are desires, mental desires. That's all. We get to experience it, and we let go. It's rather simple because of the expectation of trying to get less desires, or the habit of more desire which arise, daily basic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The matter is that we detect it. We are mindful to it. We know that this is how mind works. And we know that this is the nature of the mind, and right there that we get detached.
So as a regular human being living on this planet until after I die, how do I go about trying to achieve a goal without craving for it? Like if
It's very there are two kinds of desires. A desire that to turn you into a wholesome being, and another desire that turn you into unwholesome being. So and the thing is that sooner or later, you're gonna go in the same direction of wholesome. And this is why the Buddha said that I'm the already Buddha, and you are the future Buddhas. So naturally, it's going to go in the same direction, believe it or not. So we don't need to worry so much about how long it's going to be, such and such.
Desire and goals are two different things.
I'm talking about Olympic athletes.
Hmm?
Goal to win a gold medal, goal to be a good tennis player, goal to be a...
Still, goal and desire are two different things.
Okay, alright.
Goal is something you set your intention to, and you strive, you do your best to reach that goal.
But you have a desire to achieve that goal.
No.
I do.
Desire, if you are conflicted, then there's desire. When you suffer, then there's desire. You see?
I think golfers have a desire to improve their golf swing.
Well, you may desire it, but if you ask, how do I get achieve your goal without craving?
Well, desire and craving to me are the same
Right?
thing.
No, they're not. They're not the same thing. When you have a goal is a goal. When you don't crave it, then it's just a goal. You just strive towards it. When there is craving, that's when desire appears.
But isn't craving what drives you to achieve your goal? You want it so badly, you work hard for it?
No, no,
It's just driven me away.
no. So that's driven you, and that's why you suffer.
It's just that we define the goal, we define our goal, which that can make us happy or unhappy. Remember that. That's very rather kind of simple. That, and then we put further perspective that this kind of goal might bring suffering later or not, and that's it. That's it. Really, because of if you are passionate about golfing, then it's okay. But if let's say that if I can play golf 3 times a week, I'm going to be suffering. Then that is something else. You can have the passion, because playing golf is just like that. The art of making teas in Japan, same thing. But if you attach to the art of making tea, then it's going to turn you into turn you to suffering. And you can have a desire. You can have it. It's our nature. It's our nature that same thing. This body and this mind, they have the same nature of desiring, but it's just a matter of surviving. It's just a matter of sustaining this life and sustaining this body, and that's why there is a desire. And the goal is that we understand it. It's not that we're not okay. I understand it, and I'm going to stop eating. Then it's go against the nature. It's not. It's just that we go along without any attachment. You can enjoy a piece of pizza. Is there something wrong with that? No, completely. But if I don't have this piece of pizza, I'm gonna stir crazy about the society, for instance, like that. Then that's wrong. The enjoyment is part of this body and the mind, but don't attach to it. That's all. Just like that. Once in a while, that even here in the temple, that we're craving certain things for something. Yes, you have the right to be craving, but you don't have the right that you stir crazy about in order to get that, to get a piece of food to render your craving. And that's, yes, Daniel.
I didn't have a question.
Okay.
I just
So-
think that, regarding this question, there's a lot of athletes that sacrifice to get the gold medal or be the best without realizing they're actually suffering through this process. Because once that process is over, then there is no light. That's all they knew. So
Yeah,
there is
yeah,
something
yeah, 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 yeah.
created.
That attachment is too great to be, because of like I kept saying that when you practice Buddhism or you practice letting go, that doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice, whatever you have. It's not that you put on only a long cloth and then you say that you are a simple man. It's not. The attachment with whatever you have, but without attachment, without suffering. Let's say that you have a new car and then when you walk down you saw a scratch on it.
It's suffering.
Yeah, you begin suffering right away, but you know that, oh, this is a piece of things that it's going to happen, or you have the ability to fix it, and there's nothing's going on, such and such, and moreover that the greatest desires in human life is that you solve the question of death. That is the greatest one. If you put it into it, and then you see it, you're gonna see that sooner or later, every material desire is not gonna pass that desire, which is death. Okay, we have almost 20 minutes over, so thank you that you have a lot of input, and I learned so much about your queries. May your desire go in the right direction, which is love, compassion, and happiness. Thank you.